Let's talk crochet. Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is my channel, Slow Crochet. This is episode 041, and today I am talking about crocheted works in progress, finished objects, and any new projects I have started in the last week. I am so thankful to get to do this video because I have a big finish that I've been working on for a very long time, several months, and I'm so excited to share it with you. But first, I'm going to get into some of the smaller projects that I did finish, then I'll go into some new makes and works in progress, and then I'll show my big reveal at the end. So one of the projects that I had going was the Rippling Waves ear warmer. And this is made out of wool. I believe it's the color Dove, something of that nature. But it's a very straightforward little ear warmer, and I love how it turned out. This was something where I didn't have quite enough to make a hat, but as an ear warmer, it's very lightweight. It's good and stretchy, and I love the little kind of lozenge shapes throughout it. So I am so thankful that this yarn found the perfect project to go with it, and I was able to complete that this week. This pattern involves a lot of slip stitches and some half double crochets, everything done in the back loops only. So that for me does take a little bit of time, but I'm glad that I was able to finish it and put that in my pile for wearing as the weather is cooling down. Now I do have another project that has been ongoing kind of in the background, and it is a sit in the car, not really have to think about it too much kind of project. It is a scarf. And this scarf is made using Deep Sigh, which is a color of I Love This Yarn. I picked up 2 of these skeins at the last spring's Hobby Lobby clearance. And so this is 100% acrylic. I was just using a size J hook, and this is 5 ounces, 142 grams, 252 yards or 230 meters. It recommends a size I or a 5.5 millimeter hook, but I used a size J, a 6.0 millimeter hook. So for this one, all I did, and I need to trim off my little yarn ends here, but I just chained however many across until I felt it was about the length I wanted. It's about 6 inches wide. And then I just did a bunch of linked treble crochets. And I wanted to have more scarves that I could donate. So something like this where it can be nice and long, and it can be in an acrylic yarn, an easy care yarn, I felt like would be great to keep someone warm, and it's been a joy to have my hands busy. I do like completing projects, and there's other scarves that I'd like to make as well. So here is the linked treble. There's no real pattern, just that stitch pattern. But then to go with it, I had extra yarn. So this one's for you, Miss Betty Lou. I did a divine hat. I was really curious to see how the divine hat would work up in this variegated teal yarn. And I used a J hook, a 6.0 millimeter hook throughout. I wove in my ends, but I didn't clip them off. But it's a nice snug fit. I followed the pattern almost exactly, except at the very end of the hat, you switch to a smaller hook size. At that point, I didn't. But I have learned with my divine hats, because I've made several at this point, and when I start doing the brim, instead of putting a single crochet into every post stitch as well as the next 4, if you know the pattern, you can understand. And the pattern is going to be linked in the description below. As any of the patterns I reference, anything I reference is always going to be in the description, just FYI. But if I skip doing a stitch into that post stitch and I only do into those 4 of the shell, so I'm kind of reducing how many stitches I have in the brim, I found that it does work out better for me. It creates kind of a nice tighter brim so that the hat will stay on your head and not go flying all over the place. So there is that finish, a hat and scarf set using this I Love This yarn in Deep Sigh. Oh, and the color number for that is 748. I don't know if this colorway is going to be produced anymore because it wasn't the dye lot clearance, it was the regular clearance. But still, 2 more for the donate pile. I have a work in progress update, and that is on the Saffron Our Mrs. Reynolds shawl by Cirsium Crochet. And I have been using an oxblood colored DK weight yarn. This is Soft and Sleek DK by Yarn Bee, and I did pick this up at the dye lot clearance at Hobby Lobby very recently. I have made quite a bit of progress on this shawl, and y'all, I love it. I love it so much. It is a pretty straightforward design so far, just that kind of ripple, but it does require paying attention to the ends and to the center because that's where the increases and decreases go. So in this shawl, eventually this will kind of come together and make a keyhole, but for now it's kind of rippling out the sides. I have a lot of this yarn still to go, and in the pattern I've gone all the way up to row 25. I think in the pattern it says row 25 you can stop, or you can continue repeating rows, I think 18 to 25, as many times as you want. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to bust through as much of this yarn as I can. I'm going to make this nice and cozy and long, and it has such a great drape to it already that I can tell I'll be able to kind of scrunch it up for maybe a triangle scarf, as well as using it as a shawl. So in this pattern, I do recommend looking at the charts. It is a free pattern, and the charts are available with it as well as the written pattern. So I'm loving how this is coming on. It does take a little bit of counting, so it's not entirely mindless, but it is something you can really get into a beautiful rhythm with. And it is something that, as simple as the design may look, it's very effective and I think very elegant. I did start a new shawl. I have one on the hook and I started a new one, but this one is a very kind of mindless project and it's coming along very quickly. This is based on the Weekender shawl by Carle Dehning, and it is a free pattern. Although the pattern does use UK terms rather than US terms, but I was changing the shawl a little bit anyway, so I didn't really pay attention to that. I just wanted to see where she put the increases and things of that nature as the shawl grows. So for this shawl, I am using some of my Hobby Lobby clearance. I love this cotton. This is from the dye lot clearance. And I'm using the color Rosy, which is color 254. And this is how it's coming out so far. In the Weekender shawl, you are asked to do what is in US terms double crochets throughout. I'm choosing to do treble crochets, and then on the end, I'm doing double trebles. So you yarn over 3 times before you start your stitch. So far, this is about 2 feet wide, and I've already started to attach my second color. My goal is to do 3 different solid colors of the I Love This Cotton and have them each the same width, and then I will do a final border in a variegated color. The goal for this is also to be kind of a summer shawl, so something that I can drape over my shoulders, and maybe if I get a little bit of sunburn, that will help deflect some of that and still keep me nice and cool. I'm loving working with this yarn. I am using a size J hook, a size 6.0 millimeter hook, and the second color that I'm adding in here is color number 14, color Gold. So far we have the Rosy and we have the Gold, and hopefully I'll be able to add in one more solid color and then a border there at the end. It's a nice open stitch. It's going to be really drapey and really loose, so a lot of fun to do, and it comes together so quickly. So if you are looking for a really straightforward shawl pattern, this would be one that I would recommend. It's kind of a granny stitch, but a little bit longer, a little bit wider. So it's more of a checkerboard feel than a full-on granny stitch. So I'm loving how that's coming along, and I look forward to working on it some more soon. All right, I promised y'all a finish, and here it is. It is my neon Christmas sweater. Yay! I finished it, and I tried to launder it. I was being a little gentle. I still want to probably try to soften it up a little bit more, but I am done. I cannot believe it. I had so many ends to weave in, but totally worth it. This thing is huge, but it's so much fun to wear, and I am just so glad to have it done. I'm going to drop in some footage now of me modeling it. This is completely made out of Red Heart Super Saver. It's retro stripes for the sleeve and for the little star on top, and then just straight up black and white for the cuffs and the collar and the ribbing at the bottom, and then white, of course, for the main body, the torso of the sweatshirt. The pattern is Mod Christmas Sweater by Breann Mauldin. I heavily modified from her pattern. I loved her pattern for being a jumping off point for the kind of raglan style and the fun sleeves. The back does have a reference to our church because I do intend to wear this throughout December, especially as we serve in children's ministry, but that will just have to be a surprise I save for church rather than the internet. So that is it this week. I'm so glad to have some of these finished. I'm loving what I'm making this week. It feels so good. You know, sometimes we have those weeks where just nothing feels like it's going right. This is a week where everything feels like it's going right. Everything's just flying off the hook, and I'm having so much joy with it. And I hope the same for you. I hope that you are having a lot of fun in what you're working on. You're loving what you make. It's such a good feeling, isn't it? When you just feel inspired and you want to keep going, and there's no real deadline. You're just making for the sake of making. I hope that's where you find yourself this week. Let me know in the comments if that's where you are. What project are you working on that you're super excited about? Have you finished anything big and you're taking a breath before moving on to the next big thing? Thank you so much to all my subscribers, new and old, everyone that I love seeing in the comments. Folks like Miss Betty Lou, who was talking to me in one of my previous videos about the divine hat. Little did she know that I already had plans to make one. So there you go, Miss Betty Lou. There's how our minds are synced up right now. I am so thankful that I get the honor of being part of y'all's lives, and I really appreciate that y'all are willing to spend a little time with me. I feel so enriched when I read your comments. Y'all have the most kind and generous and profound hearts. It is amazing getting to know y'all, and it is such an honor when y'all share your stories and your thoughts with me. It's such a beautiful thing. I love that we have this little piece of the internet where there is kindness and tenderness and creativity. If I'm not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I do appreciate it, and I do hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.